And we are live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Horizen Weekly Insider number 93. Today is June 21 of 2021. Thanks for joining us live here on Discord and YouTube. And please be aware that this call is being recorded right now and will also be available for you to check out later in our Horizen podcast. So if you miss any of the updates, you can check them out later. Also, please remember to ask your questions on Menti while this call is happening. I see a lot of new people joining us, which is great. So our team can answer all of your questions at the end. I'll pass the word now to Alberto to provide us with the engineering updates. Alberto, please, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Angie. And let's try. I'm connected with a mobile phone for internet issues. Okay, so let's start as usual with Zendu, where we are continuing the integration activities between mainchain and sidechain. And we are also carrying out different optimization in the batch verification of the proofs. So, for example, a new feature was completed for optimizing the call to the deserialization of the verification keys and the proofs. And this is something that we mentioned last week and we proceeded with. The benchmarks we ran after such optimization seems very promising and are showing a reduction of the batch verification timing by 2/3. So a huge improvement there. And concerning the infrastructure-related activities, in order to create the parallel testnet where all the code will be deployed, the activity is currently in progress, and we aim to start testing it starting from next week. Okay. For what regards the audit, both for the proving system and Zendu, these are in progress, and in particular, we got some first feedback from the auditing company on the proving system side. The information provided was very useful, and we are already following up. And the same is happening also for the Zendu part. Instead, on the SDK side, last week we were able to merge 3 different pull requests on the Zendu sidechain CryptoLib. And we also covered the new options for serialization and deserialization and the relevant interface updates. And last but not least, proving system white paper is also progressing. Remember, we finalized the writing and we are in the phase of reviewing. And so we had a nice alignment call with part of the team who is participated in the review process. So probably all for today. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you so much, Alberto, for the engineering updates. Now let's welcome Chronic for the infrastructure updates.
Yeah, happy Monday, everyone. So like Alberto already mentioned, we're moving forward with the testing and the test suite for executing hard forks in a safe environment and an air-gapped environment is ready. I'm still working on a couple of optimizations for the build system. Mostly we will be making use of architecture-specific build flags for newer CPUs. So let's say AVX would be an example of something like this. And we want to be sure that Zendu also builds on older architectures. So I'll be retrofitting support into the build system to manually supply the flags with which it is built. Additionally, we've started to order infrastructure for the new Explorer. So the backend of the Explorer will change significantly. The current Inside Block Explorer is using ZenD with some additional patches to have an internal database of spends, unspends, balances, and so on. And the new Block Explorer will be utilizing MongoDB. And for that, we will deploy a high performance and highly available MongoDB database cluster. Otherwise, on the tracking system, I can report that single address staking has so far seen pretty big adoption, mostly on secure nodes. So we have right now 30 verified addresses and over 400 nodes are utilizing that feature, and the number is still growing as node hosters learn about the feature and integrate it into their own systems. For updates, Alan and I are still testing on testing updates and debugging some things. Generally, the priority on Zen2 delivery is higher right now, so please bear with us. We will bring out an update soon, but there is right now nothing major broken, so just bear with us for a bit. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Chronic. Let's continue with Lucy for the marketing updates.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. So updates from me. Rob did an interview with Blog Dialogues podcast last week, and also spoke at a Reimagines Game of Chains online conference. So we will share these talks on our social media channels when they're available. And also last weekend, our Horizen ambassador Ziten and community manager Guan Ying hosted our second Horizen conference in Shanghai. The event was another success. Most of the guests who attended it this time were new people, didn't know much about Horizen before the event. They all left the event with a pretty good understanding of Horizen, what Horizen is about, and are feeling pretty excited and bullish about what we are doing. And our next conference will be in Chengdu probably next week. Probably next month. I'm a little eager there. And we will release the date and time very soon. And other than that, we are working behind the scene on several exciting partnerships and initiatives. If you would like to get some sneak peek of what we are working on, you can check out the recent webinar Rob and Liat did with Grayscale. There are a lot of pre-release insights in it. You can find a playback of the webinar on our social media channels. And then also, the Horizen Swag Store, we have added some new products, and right now we are running a 15% off sale. So if you would like to get some new gear and swags for the summer, please do so right now. It's a good time. And that's it from me. I think Erica has some updates on the ambassador program for us. Erica?
Hey everyone, I hope you all had a great weekend. So great news for the ambassador program. We are now officially caught up on all of our applications. So the processing time is currently approximately 24 hours or less. We have had 451 applications through the program as of today. For those of you who applied and weren't accepted into the program, or we needed more information, we hope that you guys will continue to work towards becoming a Zen evangelist and refining your ambassadorship proposals, or just reapplying with more information. This week, we're going to be focusing on refining our daily tasks and creating ideas for new tasks. If you do have any ideas or suggestions, feel free to message me or Manon about them. We're happy to hear any suggestions that you all have. Anyways, I hope you all have a great week. Thanks.
Thank you, Lucy and Erica, for the marketing updates. Let's continue with Rosario for the product and engineering section.
Everyone, I'm calling in from Rob's computer. I'm happy to be in the Milan office and meeting with the engineering team and the product team here. So we've already started kicking off conversations about the next step beyond Zen2 and Lattice. And on Thursday and throughout the week, we will continue these conversations leading up to a Thursday call, which we will be discussing our tech roadmap for the future. And that's really exciting that we are at that point in our life cycle right now. On the Horizen Lab side, we continue growing our team. We have a total of 9 people assigned to the product team, which is amazing. And we have 3 new hires in the New York office, and you will get to meet them in the following weeks. On the Celsius side, we have the project continues moving really well. We defined the tech specs for milestone 3, and we are working with the cryptography team, and they are designing the circuits, and that will continue throughout the weeks. Regarding our game chain, we have already will be delivering the Sidechain Explorer that will be baked into a single deployment system. So we are moving really well and making great progress. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rosario. Rolf, would you like to add any comments or updates today?
Yeah, Angie, thanks. There's a lot of ups and downs in the crypto industry, and we always have new people that are coming into to Horizen. And some of the things that people ask is they say, well, you have this amount of funds coming in to be able to deploy towards software creation, development, and support, and things like that. But as y'all have seen over the last few months, it's very volatile. And so what we found over the years is that having a straightforward plan that's conservative, that prioritizes, that allows us to add people to the team for the positions that we need on a consistent basis, and having enough reserves is really a good conservative way to make sure that we achieve our objectives and are able to do so in a way that continues to go forward and upward without having too many issues. So as you see market cycles like this, you can know that much of the team at Horizen has been through these types of market cycles before, and we have the experience and the ability to be able to continue to progress despite the ups and downs. Thanks. That's all I got.
Thank you, Rolf. And now let's welcome Rob for the final part in the Q&A session.
All right, first of all, guys, how is the volume? Is it clear? Is it, am I coming through like a machine?
It's good.
Okay. So weird, I can't hear you guys hardly at all, but stop me if I trail off. Okay, the first thing I want to say is Guanyin, absolutely ridiculously amazing job hosting the second Horizen event in Shanghai. Honestly, blown away. I saw a collage of pictures that Lucy sent me, and it was just incredible. In particular, the food options, the selection of food was ridiculous, and I really wish I was there. So awesome job, and it's just really cool to see that community exploding. So I expect more big things coming out of the China market. I am also in Milan with a bunch of other team members, finally visiting the office that we have here that we have not been to since COVID hit back in February of 2020. So really happy to be back. The energy here is awesome. The office itself is awesome, and the team has just been growing incredibly. So just really cool to be here. We're going to be doing a whole series of deep strategic discussions that are ongoing. This is my first day in the office, and already we've had some really crazy, cool conversations about things like what's our competitive advantage, right? We have decentralization, security, privacy, the things that we're really good at. So when we think about all of those different use cases on the market, all of the different use cases the BD team has been cultivating with partners and clients, we can really hone in on the things that we can do really well. And there's one specific area that one of the guys visiting who recently joined our board that I would really love to introduce to the community here, but who's not currently online, had a really, really interesting idea of how we can focus this competitive advantage into a specific area that I want to get into in the future. I'm just throwing this out there as a mental placeholder for you guys so you can know that we're really honing in on what sort of competitive advantage we have. And rather than just duplicating everything that's already out there in the crypto world and just replicating, we're thinking, not this cycle per se, but where is the industry going over the next 1, 2, 3 years? And how can we position ourselves now using the competitive advantage that we have to really, strike a very good market posture? Anyway, we also had what was supposed to be an NFT standards discussion here. And within 1 hour, probably the problem that we were trying to solve was solved within the first 15 minutes. And the next hour just opened up the conversation to thinking about ecosystem services. So really, for us, one of the big concerns is, okay, you can launch a sidechain. That's great. We've been focusing for the last 3 years on a sidechain protocol and being able to do this in a totally decentralized way. And yes, you can issue tokens on a sidechain. okay, we think we could then issue NFTs, right? We can do fungible tokens. Why can't we do a non-fungible token? And then we get into the problem with people that we talk to who want to come and build in the ecosystem of, all right, well, what happens when I issue my NFT or my token on a particular sidechain? Is it stuck there? Can I do anything else with it? Can I, transfer this token to another sidechain that might specialize on, swapping with an automated market maker? Or maybe we have stable coins issued on a sidechain. Can they be interoperable across the entire ecosystem? Anyway, so the next hour of conversation just went into technically how can we actually do this, and I think so. We're not exactly ready to present the architecture itself, but I think we're settling on the idea that yes, absolutely feasible, and this would be the next evolution. Say like the next evolution post Lattice. We have two huge deliverables, one ongoing right now in the audit and in testing phase. The next deliverable in the pipeline is going to be Lattice, and then the thing after that is going to be sidechain interoperability. So this is going to be a really important enabler for a whole bunch of other products that will make our ecosystem much more useful. So more to come on that. I'm really pumped. Right now, the next step for us is putting the thoughts that we have on whiteboards into a document, and then this document we can start fleshing out into like an engineering requirements document. So more to come on that. Hey, last thing, I know Rolf was just talking about the volatility of the industry and funds to make things happen. What I can say is yes. First of all, reiterate what Rolf just said. Is we've been there, done that before, so we have a lot of experience, and we've been prepping for this type of volatility by raising cash, through the treasury, then also with ecosystem partners like Horizen Labs. And Horizen Labs just closed a VC, like a Series Seed round, and took in what was supposed to be $6.6 million and was just increased to $6.9 million because there was a very exciting VC that wanted to participate. So we had to figure out how to make room for this. Really pumped. The PR for this is being crafted, so we'll be more details will be forthcoming, but it's extremely exciting. This extra VC is a really awesome addition to the Horizen ecosystem, so we're really pumped for this. But we have an extra $6.9 million in cash that's come into the ecosystem through Horizen Labs. And with this, we are doing a lot of team building. This is where we're doing a lot of our hiring. And right now, point of me being in Milan, right now, we also brought some of our first engineering hires and product hires out of New York, or now here, and we're just doing team building, right? So this is going to be a very important growth phase for the ecosystem. That as we're delivering the key protocol and as we're speccing out the next iterations so that we can open up the ecosystem to doing things like token issuance, token swaps, stable coins, and all these other things that are absolutely critical for a crypto ecosystem. We're also now hiring and forming the team that's going to be executing all of these things. So this is an absolutely critical phase for us. We've raised resources specifically to do this. We have planned for this from both the nonprofit foundation, treasury side of the ecosystem, being extremely risk averse on that side and building reserves. And now we just executed a funding round on the Horizen Lab side, and we have a product getting ready to be deployed by the end of the year that could bring in additional revenue into the ecosystem and therefore justify the next expansion of the ecosystem with another funding round to grow the team even further. So this is just a virtuous cycle that we're in right now in terms of technology invention to development to go to market, building products around that, opening up the ecosystem here in really important ways by extending the protocol and therefore then extending the SDK. All of this stuff is ongoing right now. So, and me just coming physically back to Milan is, making me extremely bullish on what we're doing at Horizen. So I'll stop here. Hopefully you guys got to hear what I was saying with low mic and, some connectivity issues, but that's it for now. And back to you, Angie.
Sound was great. Thank you so much, Rob, for the updates as well, and as well to everyone for contributing with your questions. So the first one is how the economics will work for developers who are looking to launch their own sidechains and tokens on Horizen.
Okay, so there are multiple pieces to this economics question. So the first is just the fundamental with the protocol that's being released. The protocol has built into it a part of the transaction flow that goes to the developer that launches their sidechain. Right, so that's the first fundamental way that the developers can make money by launching products in our ecosystem. That itself I would argue is a big competitive advantage because we bake into the protocol like an endogenous revenue stream for the developer. All right, that's great. But we are supporting now in other ways that go beyond just the technology. And this is where we've mentioned before this like Zen Ventures initiative by building like a VC consortium to fund interesting projects, startups, and people that want to build in our ecosystem. Maybe they're not even just startups. Maybe they're other companies that want to bring over things that they've done in other ecosystems and they want to do it here because they see another ecosystem in another exploding market that they want to actually place their product in, right? So there will be many different paths for people to come in. And the VC, like this VC consortium that we're building, they were coupling with Treasury non-dilutive grants program is a really important way to now get other resources for developers and startups and businesses to come in an intelligent way where they can leverage resources from the ecosystem and have the baked-in revenue flow from the protocol itself. So there's multiple ways to benefit from this, and I think it's going to be a big competitive edge for Horizen long term.
Thank you, Rob. The second question is, any upcoming grant or accelerator programs?
Absolutely. Yeah. So actually, we had one of the meetings that we had earlier this morning was about our grant program and thinking about like multiple tiers of basically being intentional about where we're directing investment and saying things like we have three categories, and the categories can be things like basic infrastructure that we know we need to grow out the ecosystem. There's a ton of stuff here. Like if you go to all of the Web3 work on Ethereum, you can see things like web wallets that are used as authenticators. You can see a variety of other things that enable that ecosystem. And these would be like an infrastructure category for which we will for sure have a grants program. So if some of the ideas to build out in any of these categories, say starting with the infrastructure category, aren't necessarily monetizable in a commercial sense where you're not going to get VC funding, there's for sure a grant program for these types of things, right? The second layer would be like protocols. So we know we're going to want a bunch of important protocols built within our ecosystem, things like peer-to-peer lending protocols, a stablecoin protocol. Maybe we want an automated market maker protocol like that can enable like liquidity pools, right, and swaps. So there's a whole bunch of things that we know we want to invest in, and we will pair some combination of grants with VC investments through a consortium into this type of category. And the third category would be like an app category. And the apps would be those things that would be built on these protocols and built within the ecosystem that may not necessarily follow like in a particular path, but we want to at least have a pool of resources that would be there to incentivize anyone that wants to bring a good idea into the ecosystem that would be useful to the community. All right, so there's a whole bunch there, and it really centers around two pipelines of funding from like the nonprofit grants that do things like base infrastructure, science and technology, and ecosystem building. They aren't necessarily commercializable, and then the commercializable stuff for which we're going to have a set of VCs that are committing to invest capital into building out the Horizen ecosystem.
Thank you, Rob. And the third and final question is, what's the progress with Celsius audit chain?
Sorry, my connection's so bad I couldn't even hear the question.
No worries. The third question is, what's the progress with Celsius audit chain?
Oh, okay. The status with audit chain. So I don't have the specific date, but I know that we're within weeks of like a go live on the website. So the status is we've completed phase 1 with them. So we have basic functionality, and now we want to have a web portal so that people can actually see the operations that are going on the sidechain in a nice like graphical interface. So ongoing, and the actual go live date with Celsius on their website, and then also we'll have more information on our media that is TBD, but very near term.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rob, and thank you everyone for contributing with your questions. Remember, we do this every Monday to bring you the latest Horizen updates. Awesome. Hope you everyone have an awesome week. We can all see the energy and the movement there at the Milan office, so super excited for that. And thank you everyone for being here. Have a great day.